Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Good morning, good Monday morning, and welcome into Life Planning 101 right here on KATX and KWBY. Blakeney Hodges sitting in for Terry Slavens this morning, and happy to do so. I'm always happy to sit in on this show. We're joined, of course, Angela's here as usual, Angela Robinson, and she has Aaron in with her today.
Yes, and
good morning.
We have a great show planned out today. I'm really excited to have Aaron here. We have a topic we're going to be talking about how tax smart is your portfolio. And, you know, a lot of people are able to say, well, I think it's pretty tax smart. And they know the individual investments that they have inside of their portfolio and what those what the tax consequences of those individual investments are. But something that people often don't look at is they don't look at everything when it's put together and how it blends together with your overall situation and how imperative that can be. And I always think of it kind of like on Amazon. I love getting on Amazon Prime because I know I'm going to be getting free shipping on everything, right? Okay, well, I love when I see that it's free, but then you have to pay shipping and handling.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that, right? It's aggravating as all get out, right? Well, unfortunately, that's the way portfolios are. Is you think you may have this outstanding investment, and by all look of it, it may be. I mean, it may be, you know, great returns, and you know, may be able to fit inside your objectives well, and it works perfectly. But it's the shipping and handling that'll kill you, in a sense. And so that's really what we're talking about with, is your portfolio tax smart? And as we go through today, I encourage you to wait to answer our Twitter. I know we have a lot of Twitter happy people that, you know, Twitter real quick.
To tweet.
They like to tweet real quick into the show. But just wait, hang out there and listen to the show today, because it may not be what you think it means in the sense of tax smart. So yes, we have our very own CFA in-house with us, Aaron Kennedy. Happy to have him on the show as always. And obviously this is something that he looks at when he is analyzing second opinions on portfolios, when he's putting portfolios together, when we have a particular client and figuring out where to put what. And so I'm going to let him take over and just tell us, what exactly do we mean by, is your portfolio tax smart?
I thought that was a great analogy this morning, talking about shipping, because I was trying to buy some little pieces for woodworking, and it was going to cost me $20 and $8 in shipping. So I was like, oh, next site.
Yeah.
Automatic decision. But taxes, getting back to taxes, that is really a super important thing about investing. If you think about it, the tax drag is the absolute largest detriment to your portfolio. It's greater than inflation. It's greater than your investment management fees. I mean, over a long term, that can change the growth of your portfolio or ending value by greater than 25 to 30%.
Wow.
So it is absolutely huge. So
you put that in perspective. I mean, 25 to 30% on $1 million, that's $250,000 plus.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a hit. That's a big hit.
That's all something that you willfully handed to the government.
You signed up for it.
Yeah.
You picked it out.
Yeah. And the thing is, for the most part, you don't have to do that. You know, some things you do have a government contract that you have to pay. Take your 401k or your IRA, something like that. You are in a contract with the government. You own 70% of it. Government owns 30% of it. So if you wanted to buy out your IRA, you pretty much, you know, you got to hand over 30% to the government already. But other than that, the choice is yours. You make the decision whether you want to pay taxes or not. And, you know, the easiest way to get around that and make the decision not to pay taxes is, number one, where are you going to put your investments? You know, just something simple. If let's say you're a moderate investor and you have, let's go with $1 million. You have 500,000 in your 401k, 500,000 in your individual or joint account. Now, if you're a typical investor, you want to have, let's say, 600,000 in stocks, 400,000 in bonds. Well, normal bonds, you pay taxable income, 100% tax on that. So why not put those bonds in the IRA account? Because you already have to pay taxes on anything that comes out. Everything that stays in, you pay nothing. So why not take that income from those bonds and let it pay into the tax-deferred account? And that's going to save you a tremendous amount of money every year instead of just splitting it evenly between the two.
Right. And I think a lot of people, and we saw this recently, people mental account. They say this bucket of money is for this, and this bucket of money is for this. And then you think about, to what you're saying, how devastating that can actually be. Because if you tag the wrong money for the wrong thing and put the wrong investments in there, it could cost you, in our example earlier, $250,000, $300,000. Right. That mental accounting is nasty. And so, how just questioning that, because I know I'm getting you off your topic here, but how do you get around that? I mean, when, you talk about saying, hey, I'm going to retire on this money and I want to use up this money first or this money second, is it you have to retrain your brain, or is it retraining your investments? Yes.
Great question. Mental accounting, it can either work for you or against you. The biggest detriment is what you're talking about when you're actually being harmed by it. And, anybody that you look at your reporting, everything is listed out by your account number. So you're looking at your mental accounting or your accounting buckets. And if you're having a problem with it, do away with it. Pull out your pie chart. See how much is in stocks. See how much is in bonds. And then you can actually see the big picture. Because if you put it all into one bucket, you actually see what you own. And you're not breaking it down by account number, which is silly. So see what your actual pie chart looks like and say, oh, well, this piece of the pie, that's harming me tax-wise. Where can I put that where it won't harm me any longer? Or, hey, this investment, that's a very tax-friendly. Where can I put that where I could take the most advantage of it? And then if you can look at it from a holistic or a big picture view, you can really drill down and get that tax alpha, or you can pay the least amount of taxes that you have to pay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, when we come back, we're going to be talking about, he said number one, so I assume there's more ways to make sure that your portfolio is tax smart, right here on Life Planning 101.
I tell you what, taxes.
We're talking about is your portfolio tax smart, and not in the way that you think. A lot of people say, well, I've got tax efficient investments, individual investments. Well, there's yes, that matters, okay, in certain circumstances. But what really matters is when you put it all together, what does it look like? Because at the end of the day, if you've got a certain amount of money in your life, you got a certain amount of money. It doesn't matter where it's at or what it's doing. You have a certain amount of money. And there's 3 ways that you can make money. You can increase your investment return, you can decrease your fees, and you can decrease your taxes. That's it. That's all there is. So we have Aaron Kennedy on the show with us this morning, CFA at Kennedy Financial Services, explaining how to get your portfolio tax smart. And we were talking about, it's all about the small things and paying attention to the details.
That's right. There's so many details. But one other thing I wanted to talk about was the use of mutual funds. This isn't an actual strategy, but I kind of wanted to go over the inherent problems with mutual funds. Number one is the main problem with mutual funds is the capital gains distributions. Not your choice of when to buy or when to sell. It's the actual fund's choice of when to sell the stocks inside of that. So if you think about a mutual fund, they might have bought Apple or Walmart or Microsoft 30 years ago. So if you think back, those things have grown like crazy. It would have been a huge gain inside of that mutual fund. Well, what happens is if the market starts to go down, people get scared and start selling their mutual fund, and the mutual fund itself has to start selling things to provide cash, to give your cash back. Well, what happens if they end up having to sell Walmart or Apple or Microsoft with these huge gains? You as an investor have to pay taxes on that.
That's like a double whammy if you have a bear market.
Yes.
That's horrible.
We see it time and time again, and it's always in forced selling. So the market is going down. So a lot of the times you can lose money on your mutual fund in a given year and still have huge taxes.
Wow.
The bigger the drop in the market, the more taxes you're going to have to pay. So if you are using mutual fund, and there's tons of mutual fund investors out there, you want to be placing those in your 401 or some kind of tax-deferred account. You don't really want those in your joint or individual account because you'll be forced to pay, and you won't.
You don't have any choice.
That's right.
So you can't really manage around
You will
that
not be
tax
able to manage
circumstance.
it.
Oh, wow.
And it's aggravating. It's aggravating to lose money.
Extremely
You have to
aggravating.
pay taxes.
Yeah, I
His
can't
face.
tell you like this at all. So
That's what
yeah.
I wish we had. We had like a FaceTime or a visual. It's like
Exactly.
his face. It is like just aggravating.
It is so aggravating, yeah. Well,
Yes.
so what about ETFs? What about exchange traded funds? Because these came in the picture, I don't know, it's almost been 10 years, I guess, since ETFs have came in the
Yeah.
picture. So where are we at with that from a tax perspective?
ETFs are great because you don't normally get capital gains distributions. You will pay the tax on the dividends, but ETFs are special vehicles where the ETF wrapper doesn't actually buy or sell anything inside of it. It trades inside of it. Like it might switch an Exxon for a Chevron. Just a switch. There's no buy or sell, so there's no taxes involved in that at all. So if you own an ETF, they are for the most part, very tax efficient because they can rebalance inside of there and it doesn't affect you at all. Now, the pitfall to that is if something that's kind of popular right now is ETFs that are currency hedged or something like that when they're using derivatives. And if that's the case, you will pay capital gains distribution. I know a lot of the currency hedge funds, they were putting out 30% capital gains.
Nasty.
And just keep that in mind. So if you're hedging the currency, if you're hedging the Japanese yen or the European euro, make sure that that's in a tax-deferred account because that can bite you if you're not looking for it.
Right. Yeah. And I know one big thing that people think about is like, well, I'm not 59 and a half or I'm not 65 and I'm not taking my money from my IRA at this point and I need to take it from my joint account. But at the same time, that's not easily to be or not an easy place to get tax friendly investments if I'm looking for, setting up that income today. And I know that's something that's on everybody's mind is how do I position each bucket where I need to have it? And I know this is something that we work with constantly and the reason we're proactive.
Yes.
So when we come back on the break, want to make sure that we go over and talk about, position your overall portfolio so you don't have that ticking tax bomb at the end of the day.
Stay tuned. Life Planning 101, KATX and KWBY. Good morning. Oh, sorry. Hey, how you doing? Sometimes we can hardly get him to talk, and today we can't get him to just even be quiet. I'm kidding. We're back here for our final segment on Life Planning 101, KATX, KWBY. Angela Robinson, of course, and then the Kennedy Financial CFA. Did I get that right, CFA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we're talking about, is your portfolio tax smart? And I found this really good quote. You have to bear with me because I think it's English, British. It is small things in life which count. It is the inconsequential leak which empties the biggest reservoir. And your taxes, are they the leak in your portfolio? Are they going to empty the reservoir in a way that you don't want them to?
Yeah.
And we talked about how impactful just the smallest tax mistake can make inside of your portfolio. And it's extremely important as you position yourself for retirement that you've got the right investments in the right places, not just tax efficient investments overall. That's the key. So, Aaron, you were talking before the break about, just that, about, having a joint account and having the right things positioned there, and having an IRA account and having the right things positioned there. And how do you do it if you're taking income from one portfolio and then, you need to take income from another portfolio later on? And, is it just managing emotions, or is it how do you position it? Because you said obviously looking at it overall, but that's hard for people to do sometimes.
Yes. Oh, man. It is a very emotional thing because, your individual account, that's the easiest thing to get to. Your Roth account, that is the most friendly thing to get to. And just to put it point blank, most people don't even, when they're looking at their taxes, they don't imagine that they're going to be alive the next year or 10 years from now.
And they just don't think about being alive. They probably imagine being alive.
Yeah, good point. Let's take a little bit longer time frame. If I can save you money over the next 12 years, wouldn't that be a lot better than me just saving you money today?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at your lifetime, and that's what you really have to do, is when are you going to take Social Security? Are you going to stretch it out to your maximum age? Because then you're going to have a whole lot of income. And do you want to take that income the same time that your RMD is going to start?
Ouch.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because there is a time frame, and that's 70 and a half, that you have to start pulling money out of your IRA. So why don't we look at your entire income plan over, if you retire at 60, we at least need to look over the next 12 years, 10 years to see how this is really going to look.
And I think, in my opinion, when we put together plans, people that retire at 59 and 60 have the best opportunity of anybody to be tax smart with their portfolios. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
They can get an extra 3, 4, 5, 10 years out of their portfolios just by doing the right things.
Yes, that's right. And it's all of being able to put together the entire picture and stretching out this income to make it last as long as you possibly live. Mm-hmm. And giving as much as you possibly can to the government, that's not the way to do it.
No,
that is not.
You have the choice.
Yeah.
You do have the choice. And with adequate planning, you can make the correct choice on what to do.
Right. And I just looked back. So we wrote an article on this week. So make sure you go online, get access to it. It's kennedy-financial.com and kind of depicts everything we're talking about. It's called Is Your Investment Portfolio Tax Smart? And in this, we gave an example about a gentleman that was a retiree, 65, totally dependent on his investments and Social Security. So no pension, no anything else. And he takes all of his income from his non-retirement account now, and he isn't paying a dime of taxes. But at age 70 and a half, he's going to have to start pulling out $60,000 a year from his IRA, all taxable. But what he didn't think about is what that does to his Social Security as well. Makes it taxable, 80% of it. And then he's got capital gains that are now taxable on top of that. So could he strategize around that to make a better tax plan?
Sure.
Absolutely. That's what we're talking about, is that, people just start segmenting, mental accounting. I'm retiring today. I'll use this up till I turn this age, and then I'll have to turn that on. And this is the way we think, because this is the way the government's trained us to think. They want us to think this way.
They want your
Conspiracy theory. Give me all your tax dollars. That's exactly right. But a little bit of planning goes a long way. In fact, I get to do one of these this week. I'm so ecstatic. One of my favorite couples to work with. He retired early, and we've got this window of time. He's got this massive IRA, and we're just doing as much as we can to be able to save him money down the road and not pay taxes. And they're ecstatic about it because they could see the years that their portfolio is extending because of this.
That's right. And then that's what it is. It's years. You got to remember, the government is our partner in our retirement accounts. If we're in the top tax bracket, they own 30 to 35% of our account. So what do you think? They want you to hold on to that and grow it as large as you can.
Yeah, because they're making money.
This is a conspiracy because their part grows as much as it can. So, it's very important to look at the large picture and say, hey, I may pay a little bit more now, but if we look at right now, we're in super low tax brackets.
Right.
So wouldn't it be better to pull a little bit more income now while we can take an advantage of this? Because who knows what's going to happen 2 years from now?
Yeah, and on top of
6
that,
years from now?
we have tax reform, right?
Yes.
Rates are lower than they've been since, my goodness,
That's exactly right.
90s. So, here we are. We've got this incredible opportunity to take advantage of. That's huge. And, I remember something always stuck in my head. One of the biggest lessons you learned, and I'm so grateful to come in the business with my dad and with my brother because I learned so much. And I'll never forget when Aaron told me one time, we were looking at a portfolio, and I said, well, all the long-term stuff's there in their individual account. That's where they need to take money from. How does that work? Because if they need to take money and the market goes down, how does that work? He said, great. I said, what do you mean great? And he said, well, if it goes down, that means that we get to capture losses. And we've got the short-term money set aside in the retirement portfolio. All we do is turn that back on and reinvest it. We didn't lose anything. We didn't lose any ground. It's just a flip-flop. But you don't think about that mentally because you think about that's where I am pulling money from. So that's the only option that I have. So if I take that money out and the market's down, I lose that money. No, not necessarily. Not if you have other money that's set aside to turn back around and put right back in. And we don't think that way as human beings. But by thinking that way, that's what gains you those extra years. That's what gains you that extra time.
That's the problem with mental accounting right there. It can get you in trouble at the worst time. You need to be able to step back and see your entire picture so you don't make these little mistakes. Little mistakes that from an evolutionary standpoint, we've been programmed and we're supposed to make.
Right. Don't have a leak, right? Don't have a tax leak.
Right.
Don't have a tax leak in your reservoir. It'll empty it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Great topic. You can tweet now. Is your portfolio tax efficient? We want to know, have you had it looked at from a tax efficient perspective? If you haven't, don't wait. It's critical. It could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, depending on the size of your portfolio. So get after it and make sure that your portfolio is tax efficient. And we're here to help right at Kennedy Financial Services. And you can reach us on our website at kennedy-financial.com. Hope everyone has a great week. God bless you. My name is Angela Robinson here with Aaron Kennedy at Kennedy Financial Services.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Colton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Colton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.